of, it's time for us to, dive a little bit deeper into what Mr. Sheeta was giving us, which was the mental health aspect, and learning more about how important that is. And we have Miss Colleen Blake Miller coming from my country, my home continent, country, USA, out of Atlanta, Georgia. She's going to be speaking on mental and emotional wellness, giving us 8 ways to amplify your confidence and build community like a boss. Miss Blake Miller is a registered psychotherapist, a speaker, um, and Colleen Blake Miller has worked diligently for more than a decade, supporting hundreds in achieving health, wellness, and personal growth. She couples her dynamic speaking style with her clinical expertise in identity, worth, depression, and trauma in order to support healing and growth in the lives of women and men she works with. Colleen is committed to helping individuals uncover the emotional and psychological hurdles that hinder their forward progression and impede their achievement of high level success. In addition to her private practice, Colleen works within the community through workshops, special projects, and community initiatives. She has served for over 16 years supporting individuals and families in need. And on top of it all, is a mother of four. She has 3 boys and a little girl who appreciates and also appreciates her time alone with her husband, watching movies and eating salt and pepper wings. I will have to say that maybe that is the part that made me think that you were from Atlanta. So, Miss, I need to go ahead and set the record straight. She is not from Atlanta. My apologies. She is from Canada, our neighbors. So, without further ado, here she is.
Hi there, Alicia. You're not off. You're not off. I am from Canada, but I now
Okay,
live in Atlanta. Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay. I got my wires crossed. My apologies, but I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. Thank you for that warm welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm so happy to be here. It has been an absolute blessing following along with all of the speakers over this past 2 days. I have been thoroughly blessed, and I'm trusting God that some of the words will really land today and will confirm. I think that there'll be a lot of confirmation, because when I've been listening to many of the speakers, it's like, oh my goodness, like we are just aligned in so many ways in terms of what God has placed in our hearts to share for today. So I do want to take a moment and thank Nancy for just opening up this opportunity and just presenting this this conference for so many to be blessed. I hope that the Lord will continue. I know that the Lord will continue to just expand all of the things that are in our heart to do and her borders, and will continue to do great work. So I'm talking today about amplifying your confidence and building community like a boss. And so let me first start by saying this. I am here today because of community, right? So as I was sharing just a few moments ago, I am originally from Canada. I grew up in Ottawa, which is the nation's capital. And then at about 17, we moved to Toronto. And I've been there and raised our family until just this past summer, and moved to Atlanta. And so because of someone in my community who also is a part of this community, Nicole, she was hosting for a little bit today, she introduced me to Nancy. She said, Colleen, there's someone that you need to be connected with. Nancy, there's someone that you need to be connected with. And can I just say that that is exactly what it is that we need to be leaning into and being a part of. Being a part of fostering and building each other's community and building our community. That is what made even me being here present possible. It's allowing community to be developed. And so I'm very thankful for that. And I want to encourage us to make that a priority in our endeavors, whether it is you're in business or just even, personally. It's important to have your community. It is said that it takes a village to raise a child. And this is the truth. The truth is that we never outgrow the need for our village, right? Oftentimes, I think that we get to an age or we get to a stage and we feel as though I know what I need to know, and I should be able to figure things out on my own. I should be able to manage on my own. I've been an entrepreneur I've been in this, entrepreneurial, game for about 15 years now. And what I will tell you is this: it can be very, very lonely if you're not careful. And it's imperative to one's success to have a strong, vibrant community. And in order for us to have a vibrant community, we obviously need to have confidence, because it had to take a level of sureness in oneself for Nicole to make that connection, for Nancy to say, hey, yeah, I'd like to meet her, for me to say, I want to meet this Nancy person. And we need to be thinking about what is blocking us from building and fostering community, because we know that God is relational. He is a relational God. Even within himself, there is relationship, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, and he's made us in his image. We are relational beings. We are not meant to be isolated and to ourselves. We need each other to survive. So what gets in the way? I do think that a lack of confidence, or sometimes a hesitation about understanding ourselves fully, gets in our way. And so this is what I'll say about confidence. Often, when someone says, how can I build my confidence? What they are often recommended or encouraged to do is to go through the list of their strengths, their attributes, their competencies, the things that they've done, and allow those things to sort of strengthen them and help them feel like, okay, I'm coming from somewhere. I know some things, I've done some things, and I need to be confident in that. And while, yes, that can be helpful, to me, I don't believe that that is enough. Having been in this field of psychotherapy and supporting people in mental health for the past 16 years, I know it will only take you so far, right? I'm going to lean on a quote by Maya Angelou to help me, express this place I'm inviting us into, from moving from confidence 1.0 is what I would call that. This idea of leading with your strengths and allowing your strengths and your resume and the letters behind your name to kind of be the confidence you stand on. I consider that to be confidence 1.0, excuse me. Confidence 2.0 is this. And let's listen to this quote to help me to kind of frame this. Maya Angelou once said, "You alone are enough. You have nothing to prove to anyone." And so in this idea, I believe our confidence is able to be elevated to a completely different level. And the fact is this, that your value and your worth are an inherent part of your existence, right? What you bring that is so resourceful and is of high value into the rooms that you enter and the spaces that you occupy is you. All right. And, we have the ability to amplify our confidence when we are able to really hang on to and cling to that truth. For those of us here who are believers, we recognize and we understand that our value and our worth has been deposited and engrafted inside of us by God. And so, yes, there are things about us that we can be pursuing that will qualify us for the things that we desire to do. For instance, if I have to have some kind of life-threatening surgery, you better believe I want the qualified surgeon who has the experience to be able to do that surgery. But sometimes what we have to recognize is that we stop ourselves from even pursuing our dreams and pursuing the things that we want to do because we lack the confidence and belief in ourselves that we can and that we're worthy of doing that. And so, how do we build our community? We need to recognize that we are deserving of a strong and vibrant community. Not everyone is going to be drawn to us, and that's okay. But there are people that God has assigned to us to help us to operate in our purpose and to make significant impact in the earth. So the first point about amplifying your confidence and building your community is you have got to know your worth. Secondly, you've got to avoid isolation. I'm going to share a couple of stats with you. So it has been said that health risks associated with loneliness and social isolation are comparable to the dangers of smoking and obesity, and increases mortality risk by 30%. It is compared. Loneliness is said to be as lethal as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Can you believe that? Loneliness has negative effects on our mental health. It worsens depression, anxiety, mood disorder, cognitive decline, as well as our physical health. And one of the things that we often are not conscious of because people don't talk enough about this is in entrepreneurial in that entrepreneurial journey in the life of an entrepreneur, oftentimes we do feel lonely, we do get isolated, and we have to really avoid that. How do you build community? How do you amplify your confidence? You need to know your worth. That's number one. Number two, you need to avoid isolation. I consider isolation what I call to be the silent killer. Not only, as the stats say, does it affect you physically, but just emotionally, mentally. It kills your purpose, it kills your ambitions, your ability to dream, it kills your motivation. We have to be very, very mindful. And I know sometimes, if you're like me, we can say to ourselves, I know how to do what I need to do on my own, but we can go further together than you can go individually on your own. So number one, remember and hang on to, cling to the truth about your worth. Number two, avoid isolation. Number three, how do we build strong community? We have got to stop the comparison games. This day and age that we're in right now, it's easy to get stuck in the comparison trap. Social media makes it so easy for us to be looking into other people's lives. And I do air quotes because you have no clue, right, what's actually and factually happening in the lives that you are sometimes peering over and comparing yourself to. Each heart knows its own sorrow. You know the truth about your life and your existence, and it goes for the other person. Don't think because of the things that you see or the things that you've heard or the things that people are curating and putting on the platforms like social media. Don't think that that's the whole story. It's never the whole story. So you cannot compare yourself with the what you imagine are the experiences of other people. And sometimes, let's face it, sometimes people are painting a picture that is not absolutely factual and absolutely true. Comparison, the comparison game or the comparison trap actually can fuel this practice of overachieving and really striving towards perfectionism. As well, it will fuel imposter syndrome and it will boost levels of stress and anxiety. So I encourage us, as we are wanting to amplify our confidence and we are needing and working on building community, you've got to be willing to let go of the comparison games and begin to appreciate all of who God has created you to be and all of what is you. Okay, so that's number three. Stop the comparison games. The fourth thing is to mind your mind. So there's been several people that have spoken about the importance of managing what is going on in our thoughts, right? It has been said that the average human has about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. All right. So imagine some of those thoughts are going to be neutral thoughts. Many of those thoughts are going to be negative thoughts, and some should be positive and uplifting thoughts. um, you want to be aware and conscious of what is happening in your thoughts and in your mind. Why? Because it was said earlier by Rashida that as she was ministering, the way that you think affects the way that you feel, and based on how we feel, that often will determine our behavior. Right, the things that we choose to do or the things that we choose not to do. So it's nobody else's responsibility except yours to know what's happening in your thought life. And with practice, some of the things that Rashida had spoken to, as well as what I often will do with clients that I work with on a day-to-day basis, is really working on becoming more conscious and more aware of the thoughts that are actually fueling some of the anxieties and the worries and the things that are not really helping us, becoming more aware of those thoughts, and learning how to bring those thoughts in the light of truth, and replacing what is not true with truth. All right, so how do we build strong community? How do we amplify our confidence? We have to know our worth. We have to avoid isolation, stop the comparison games. We need to manage our mind, manage our mindset. It's going to be impossible for you to be building strong relationships and you're in your head, right? Everything that is happening, the things that people are bringing, to you, the individuals that God is going to bring into your life, you kind of being in your head about that. You want to really release yourself from some of those practices so that you can actually occupy all of what God is bringing you to. Next, number 5, know your goal. Why do you need to have connections with the individuals that you are drawn to? What are the things that are in this season of your life that you sense and know that God is leading you towards? Who are the people that are going to support what purpose is inside of you? It's important to know your goal, because there are just too many people, I think, sometimes that want to latch themselves onto you even. You need to know what season you're in, and you need to know who the individuals are that can support you and who God is bringing you to support them in the season that they are in. So know your goal. Next, what do you want to actually know from them? I have, since yesterday, as speakers have been speaking and ministering, I have been, sending messages and connecting with individuals, those that I feel their messages are resonating with me. I am in my mind thinking, how can I connect myself to what it is that these individuals are doing, based on the call, based on the season that I'm in right now? What is it that particular individuals and people can pour into you that you are unaware of, and need to be able to step a little bit further on the journey that God has you in for this particular season? So number 1, know your worth. Number 2, avoid isolation. Number 3, stop the comparison games. Number 4, mind your mind. Number 5, what is your goal? What are you leaning into this season, and what is it that you are looking for to really see your village to flourish? What is it that you need to know of the people that God is bringing into your life? And next, number 7, what is it that you have to share? What is it that you are called to? What are the strengths that you have? What do you bring to the table that is unique, that is really integral to helping to move even the community that you are a part of? It's important to know. I'm sure many of us have heard of that elevator pitch. It's sort of like how you introduce yourself, and a part of that is expressing what it is that you are contributing to make this world a better place. Perhaps it's something that, if you haven't already secured and understood what that elevator pitch is and what it is that you offer to say quickly, maybe it is a time for you to go and spend some time to kind of rehearse that and research that, kind of study, what is it that I am bringing to the communities that I occupy and that I am going to be a part of. And finally, what I will say is this: you need to get up and go. So oftentimes we have thoughts and we have ideas of things that we want to pursue. But what do? We sit on it. We don't act. And so Mel Robbins, who's an author, she's written a book called The 5 Second Rule. And what that book speaks to is that if you have an instinct to act on a goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds or your brain will kill it. Right? So the moment that you have a thought to do something, the moment I would say that God deposits a thought or an idea into your heart, how can you move? How is it that you can move? Think about what you have been receiving, what's been deposited in you over these past 2 days. How have you felt impressed by God to move? How can you act on that today? All right. So these are some of the thoughts that I have in terms of how we can amplify our confidence, right? Stand firmly on the truth about who we are and build and foster strong and meaningful communities. Now, before we go, I would love to just read a few affirmations with you. I can't hear you speaking back to me, but I'm going to encourage you, even in your space where you are, to repeat after me as I say these affirmations over you. All right. Number 1, I don't need to prove myself to anyone to be worthy. Number 2, my value and worth are an inherent part of my existence. Affirmation number 3, I am enough, and I reject every limiting belief that conflicts with this truth. Number 4, I have the capacity to learn, grow, and evolve into the woman God has called me to be. Number 5, I hold myself in high esteem, and I am drawn to people who align with this truth. And finally, my life is not a race. It is a beautiful story that is unfolding with every breath and step I make. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, Colleen, that was beautiful. Those affirmations to close that out, that is exactly what we needed. Thank you so much for that. I do have one question for you. As a therapist, and as a person who I'm you're the therapist, I'm the person in therapy. Okay.
Yeah.
I love therapy, has completely changed my life.
Yes.
But I do know that all the things that you said that we need to do as far as knowing our goals and, our worth and all of that, I find that some traumas make that harder to deal with. And I think that a lot of us in colored communities just naturally have traumas. So do you have any tips on how to actually put what you said in practice when you are also dealing with various forms of trauma?
Absolutely. That's such a wonderful question. I think that one, we need to be acknowledging the things that are getting in our way and being able to even name some of the experiences that we've had as traumas. One of the things that I do in my first appointment with clients after they filled out their intake form is to ask, what's your history with trauma? What does that look like? And it's unbelievable how many times people leave that aspect of the intake blank, but then as they're telling their story, I'm like, whoa, wait a second. That event, that thing that you endured, that thing that was done to you, that's considered trauma. And sometimes it is that awareness of oh my goodness, that was a trauma that has shaped me and continues to impact the way that I do my life. The easy answer is this: you have to take time with yourself. Okay. So knowing that there have been aspects of your story that's still unfolding that have shaped you and sometimes can feel like a barrier is the first step. Getting support to navigate and process through that is, of course, what I would recommend. So talking to a professional about how to process and heal from the traumas that you've been through. And then third, be patient. Be patient with yourself. The last affirmation is, my life is not a race. It's not a race. We're not in a race to heal. We're not in a race to, get to the goal. I know sometimes we do that to ourselves, but we need to cut that out. My life is a beautiful story, and it's unfolding with every breath and with every step. So that's my encouragement.
You have no idea what you did with just that last statement, because that is so I live by that. Like I feel like I'm like in a rush. Like I always feel like I'm behind, and I'm in just and someone spoke earlier about leaders like grow into the next level. They don't just go to the next level.
That's
So,
right. I
you
love that.
know,
That was good.
so that just speaks to like your whole message of going to therapy, getting the help, sitting down. And I think the hard part is the first step of sitting down with ourselves to
Yeah,
actually deal and like kind of work those things out. Cause like, or what they call shadow work, it's the ugly part of it all, right?
that's right. That's right. But we can do it, with
Absolutely.
the help of God, and He has blessed the body with so many different gifts, and so don't. A part of having a solid community is knowing who you need, and so having those individuals in your life, whether it be your therapist, a mentor, the friends that, I think I heard somebody say earlier, like they're going to be honest with you and tell you, hey, you know what? I think you need to talk to somebody about this. That's a part of what we need to be well. Mhm.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to look you up and book a session because we need to continue these conversations. Um,
Lovely.
so let us know, how can we find you? Are you have a private practice? Are you accepting clients? Where
So, yes, I do have a private practice. Unfortunately, my practice is, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because this is global. So I work with Canadian clients. I work solely in my practice with Canadian clients, but I also have other services. Like, so I facilitate a wellness community. I teach courses. We're doing a course actually launches tomorrow on confidence. And then also on Instagram, that's where you can find me, Colleen Blake Miller. You just put that in and you'll find me there. I think I see in the chat, I would love to have those affirmations. I have a reel that has those affirmations listed off. So go ahead and engage with the content that I have there. I put a lot of content on social media that I believe my intention is to really help us through our journeys as we are navigating and really pursuing mental health. So, yeah.
Okay, you guys. So see right there, she has a ton of resources, and we've been here for about 4 hours today, and there was 4 hours yesterday. So if you guys want to make sure that you're getting all these resources, you want to make sure you're getting in touch with Colleen and every other speaker that you've seen today, and everything that they have to offer, and all of their social media handles. Make sure you are registered. That's all you have to do, is make sure that you register for this conference so that you can get the digital copy of it all. And thank you so much for joining us, Colleen. And I'm sure you're gonna stick around for the last bit of it, right?
Yes.
Thanks so much. Okay, guys, we are almost here. So we've got the mental and emotional, wellness all together. And now it's time to take it over to the emotional wellness and learn what it means to be gracefully broken. Miss